So, here are 5 things I learned from a conversation with Justin in episode 1. So the first thing I learned is you have to put mental health on the table to start that conversation. Before you do that, people don't feel comfortable opening up about mental health when it's not on the table. It's almost like people need an invitation or an opportunity to speak about the struggles and feel heard. I think the most difficult thing is starting that conversation. And the reason we find it scary, the reason we find it uncomfortable to have this conversation is because it's unfamiliar, not because we're incapable. When we do something new, it feels scary, but it's because we've never done it before. So we need to practice, we need to strengthen the neural pathways, we need to exercise that muscle in having mental health conversations. Like anything, difficult conversations take practice. I guarantee when mental health is put on the table, those around you, friends and family, will both open up. And this is why at my first live event, I gave everyone the exercise of texting someone saying, how is your mental health? Because you've put that on the table. You can use me as the excuse, but hopefully that started some mental health conversations for those that attended. So the second thing I learned from a conversation with Justin is all about knowing the right person to open up to. And this can be quite tricky because it's often trial and error. And sometimes having a bad experience can put you off opening up again about your mental health struggles. And that will take us on to my next point, but first I just want to elaborate. It can be difficult to find someone who's capable of holding space for you, who's capable of listening to make you feel heard and like they understand what you're going through. Sometimes people are too quick to offer advice, try and fix us, try and relate to us by sharing a similar story, but that's not what we need in our difficult moments. We need someone who can hold that space, listen, and make us feel heard. We need a pair of ears and nothing more. But these people do exist, and like I said, it is trial and error, so I would say don't give up. My advice is start small. So if you're not sure whether someone's capable of holding that space for you and actually listening, because I think few of us know what it means to actually listen, here's my advice. Start small. So identify someone, and then reveal something quite trivial, something that's not making you too vulnerable and feels too exposing. Reveal that trivial thing to them and see how they react. From there, you'll be able to gauge whether this person is capable of holding space for you and making you feel heard. And if you don't have one of them people, or you don't want to go through the process of finding this person, I advise that you seek professional help. Professionals are there for a reason. They're not there for when we hit rock bottom. They're there for when we need it. And we need help before we reach rock bottom. So reaching out to these professionals who are guaranteed to have the skills to listen, hold space, and help us out of the current way that we're feeling. Number 3 leads on from my last point. So we can't just encourage people to speak out about mental health. It's amazing that we do, and we say, yeah, everyone should speak out and be honest about what you're going through. But the reality is, not many people are equipped to navigate those conversations. When someone brings to us the challenges, the struggles, we don't know what to do. Our natural thing is to give advice, and they don't want advice. So as well as encouraging people to speak up, we need to equip people with these skills to navigate the conversations where they're providing people who speak up with a positive experience, and then people are more likely to speak up again. So, not everyone is capable of doing that because it's a skill that needs to be learned. So sometimes you'll leave a conversation feeling worse than when you went in, and that's okay because you tried. But that's why it's important to teach people this, so you can have a positive experience and it doesn't put you off opening up again. So the 4th thing I learned from a conversation with Justin is that the work you do has an invisible impact. And that can be quite comforting. It can feel quite rewarding. But when it's invisible, you don't know. So what I will say, anyone doing really positive work, I'd say continue, because you are having an impact, even if you don't know about it. Sometimes we can get so caught up in the metrics and things that we know that behind the scenes, someone's watched our podcast episode, someone's attended one of our workshops, whatever it may be, and they've gone home feeling better about themselves. Something's changed for them. And although they might not voice it and that might not get back to us, we are having an amazing impact. So the work you do, as well as having an impact you know about, there's also an invisible impact. And that's what drives me, having that invisible impact. For anyone who attended the live event, if you sent a text message to one of your friends or family members asking about their mental health, that is my invisible impact. If them conversations carried on a week later, the same day, a month later, whatever it is, that's my invisible impact. I'll never know about it, but I was the catalyst for it. And that's why I do this work. So the final and fifth thing that I took away from a conversation with Justin in episode 1 was that trivial decisions have an enormous impact, especially when we're feeling quite down mentally. So I'll give you the example Justin used. So he got invited on this bike ride with his family and he wasn't feeling up to it. It might have been raining, the weather weren't great, and he just didn't fancy it. So he was quite reluctant. However, he told us he went on that bike ride and he felt better as a result of it. That was such a small, trivial decision, because not only did he go outside and get some exercise, he got some sunlight, he connected with his family, he networked with strangers and got a new contact. Can you see how that trivial decision by just deciding to go on that bike ride had an enormous positive impact for Justin mentally? Now, to understand how trivial decisions have enormous impact, I need to flip that coin. So imagine, instead of going on that bike ride, Justin decided to stay in, and he decided to go and get in bed and shut his curtains. Because sometimes when we're feeling down, we decide to live in that place. We almost identify with that depression or that anxiety or whatever it may be. We live there, and all the decisions that we make compound. So if you close your curtains, you get in bed, you have a nap, you wake up, you're not feeling great, you decide to skip the gym, you're not eating right, you're not hydrating, them trivial decisions compound. And it's the decisions we make will either make us feel better or they'll exacerbate an existing feeling. So my advice is, don't live in this feeling. Sometimes it's tough to get out, but you've got to throw yourself outside. You've got to just get up and get out, and you know you'll feel better for it. So this lesson is that the decisions you make will compound. So they'll either make you feel better or they'll make you feel worse by compounding and spiraling. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, click here to get the full episode, and don't forget to subscribe.